Mike Duber here. I thought I'd spend a few minutes this morning discussing inside ring engraving. I have a new tool, a new holder that's designed and made by DeCamillis. Inside ring engraving holder for holding rings, simply for engraving inside the surface. Been a lot of interest recently in learning how to engrave inside rings. And I thought I would demonstrate a few of those steps to take today. First of all, one of the most important tools is a holding device. There are several available, this being the newest and I think most versatile. It's very nice because you can stand it straight up in your block if you like, or if you're going to engrave under a microscope, you can loosen the block, lay the fixture to the side, and that gives you viewing through the top, and you can still work inside the ring. I'm going to be working without a scope today, so I'm going to set this upright, lock it in good. And the basic operation is this of this holder is that it holds a ring good and rigid, yet it has a loosening system here where the ring can be revolved in the holder without removing the ring or doing major adjustments. It just loosens the screw and then it locks down tight. So as you're doing a line of letters through the inside of the ring, it's not necessary to move the fixture or do a lot of major movement, only to loosen this one set screw and revolve the ring. The other good thing about that feature is that you can revolve the ring and use your pencil to line your letters. So if I set this pencil down in this ring, I've already got a light coat of Chinese white in here. I just revolve the ring, keep the pencil in place, and I make a nice line for laying out my letters. I'm going to do 3 lines, one for the top of my capital letters, one for the top of the small case letters, and one for the bottom of the small case letters. So there we have 3 lines laid out for our letters. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, try to get you a little closer without getting out of the field of view here. So with the lines laid out, it's simply a matter of drawing in the letters. I'm just going to, let's say, I'm going to do script letters for you today, so I'm just going to lay in the word script. I'm using kind of a generic script alphabet here. Something that's not too fancy. I don't think we need to get too fancy engraving inside rings with a lot of embellished letters. It's difficult enough without getting carried away with letter design. So as with any other lettering job, it's simply a matter of laying out letters. Made a little more difficult because we're working inside a ring with the obstacles so S-C-R-I-P-T, script. The tools for the engraving tools themselves are rather simple. As close as I can get here with this camera. I'll just slide it through the ring here. This is a 120-degree graver. The shoulders of the graver here have been narrowed to allow me the latitude of turning nearly vertical to the surface or the outside edge of the ring. Just gives me more clearance. The other graver we use is a hand graver, and it's an offset graver. But you see that since it's off, the point is projected down to this angle, so that as I'm cutting at an angle here, the point is still 90 degrees to the metal surface. So tighten down the turret. Everything's nice and tight. These are set in here with set screws. It's just a matter of tightening those down once you get the ring set. I've already done that. So I'll try. Engraving inside ring requires a lot of movement and manipulation of both the ring and the graver, so I'll try to stay out of the way while I'm doing this, although when I'm engraving inside rings I'm all over the place with my hands, trying to see inside here and that kind of a thing. So it's a little bit of a compromise for me to try to engrave and let you see at the same time, but I'm going to do that. There's the S. I moved the turret a small bit so I can go to the C. I've cut the C and the R. I'm going to move to the I and the P. And now the T. Now you can see, I believe, that this fixture really creates a workable situation when come to inside ring engraving. It's very maneuverable, it's easy to get to. We have one last detail here, and that's when this hand tool comes in, and that's cutting a longitudinal cut that runs the same direction as the outside edge of the ring. And that, of course, is impossible to do with any rigid graver like this, any straight graver, because you can't get in there to cut a straight line. You can only do that with an offset graver. Now, you can use this tool with or without air power. I've done it for so many years. I just use it like this and just push and cross the T that way. So there's the word script written inside a ring. Not impossible, difficult, I'll grant you that, but you know, once again, it comes with practice. And in a class we go through how to design the letters so that you can engrave them inside. They can't be a complete looped letter. They have to have breaks at the top and the bottom, and I think that's all part of the process. You could go in there if you like and actually connect all those cuts, the tops of the curves and the bottoms of the curves. Just depends on how far you want to take it. Many of the old antique rings that I've seen in the business and that have come through my store, and I've sized and looked at the old engraving, in general terms, the engravers left the tops and bottoms of curves, like the top and bottom of the S, the C and the P, the loop on the P. Just leave those open and allow the eye to connect them, and it looks very artistic, and in my judgment looks better than getting there and trying to recut all the tops and bottoms. I like to see those just left open, and you have a pretty letter. So that's pretty much the basic operation. We go into more depth in a class, but you can see that it's easy to remove the ring or hold the ring. In class we get into more difficult. If we go through the basics of engraving inside rings, we go to the more difficult steps, creating block letters. Here's a sample we did in class last session. Those are block letters. A bit more difficult because you don't have the flowing curve of the script. I think the script is the easiest thing to do, and the block is more difficult. And then you have what I call the 5 most difficult things to engrave inside a ring, and that would be a star, a heart, Christian cross, and the infinity sign. And for some reason people request those signs quite often, and I think it's matters of the heart. You know, people are trying to express something special inside a ring, and we get these requests for these geometric figures, and they're pretty difficult. But today I just wanted to tell you that, you know, engraving inside rings is not impossible. It's not as hard as it might seem at first, but if you have the right tools, like this inside ring holder makes the job much easier. A properly designed graver makes it easier still, and then having the use of a bent line graver like this that allows us to make parallel cuts completes our set of tools. Those 3 things, the holder, the 120, and the inside offset, are the only tools necessary for engraving inside rings. Thank you.